Hi friends, let's talk about my favourite books that I read in 2025. As a full disclaimer, I didn't read as much in 2025 as I would normally do, so the pool to choose from is much smaller. I was in a very big reading slump at the beginning of the year, and I only really started picking books up again in the summer in dribs and drabs, and then really kicked my reading off again when we got to late autumn and winter. So I really didn't read all that much. But there are 5 books that I read last year that are really standing out to me as favourites and ones that I would come back to in the future, and that I could find new meaning and new things to pull my interest even years down the line through rereads. So I thought I'd share those with you guys today, see if you've read any of them, and then if you have, let me know what you thought, and otherwise let me know what you guys have been loving this year, because I'm always keen to see what everybody else is enjoying. So without further ado, let's start with the books. The first one I'm going to talk about is by Bram Stoker. Now, I know Bram Stoker is mainly known for Dracula, but Bram Stoker did write other short fiction, mostly horror. And this is a little short story collection from the Penguin Archive of 5 of his shorter fiction, all again scary stories. I do love the Penguin Archive books, just as a little aside. It's a really interesting one that they've done in the last couple of years, where they've taken all of these shorter fictions and non-fiction works by famous classic authors and published them in this little collection so that we can find new things by favourite authors, and I'm just really here for that. But anyway, let's talk about this book while we're here. So The Burial of the Rats is obviously the title story. There are other stories in it, but The Burial of the Rats itself was my favourite story. I was on the edge of my seat for this, you guys. I could not put it down. I was scared. I was hearing things inside the walls in my imaginations, and just really icked out by this story. And that's what you want from a horror story, really, isn't it? Especially one that was written 100 years ago. This did not feel like something written by a classic author. It was not bogged down. It was not stodgy. It felt like it could have been written yesterday with how much this scared me. And that just shows that humanity does not change. We are still frightened by the same things, always. And rats are definitely one of those things that a lot of people find quite scary and quite sinister. So if this is up your street, please do check this out, because it is really worth your time, and you can fly through it, because some of these stories are super short, like less than 30 pages short, and who doesn't have time to read 30 pages in an evening? Come on. So next up is one that took me by complete surprise. I have dabbled in haiku in the past, but not being a very well-read Japanese literature reader, I haven't really got it. It's kind of missed the mark for me. I think I probably need to do more research and read a bit more, but it was something that I was just like, I kind of get it, but it's not really for me. And I picked this one up on a whim because the cover was really beautiful, and it's a really tiny book from the Penguin Black Spines collection. And this is Matsuo Basho's On Love and Barley, and it is a haiku collection that follows the seasons almost like a wave, and different meditations and thoughts that he had across several years on the seasons and the changes that we see. And it was just a really beautiful book. I absolutely adored it, and I found myself reaching for it again and again throughout the year, just coming back to favourite particular haikus, underlining, putting tabs in, sharing them with people in my life as well. I became that crazy haiku lady who was texting people being like, look at this beautiful haiku, and I think people thought I'd lost my mind a little bit, but it was just really beautiful and it really resonated with me. So if you are looking to inject a bit of ethereal beauty into your life on a day-to-day basis, just pick this up and read 1 or 2 a day, and I promise you they will improve your mental health. You will feel so much happier after reading these, because they are just that uplifting. And they're not new stories. These are haikus that were written in the mid-1600s in ancient Japan. So it just also, again, highlights that humanity doesn't really change all that much, but this way in a beautiful way, which was quite a sharp contrast to Bram Stoker's horrifying way. Anyway, we'll circle back to horror again. Clearly I had a very horror-filled year last year, and actually I read a lot of horror stories, which is not usually my favourite genre, but this... Treya! Sorry guys. That was one of my cats. That was Eritrea, named after the Shannara Chronicles. She's a little tabby cat with just the one eye. I'm sure you will meet her again when she inevitably jumps in front of the camera. But anyway, this next one is by Christina Henry, who again is an author who never misses the mark for me. This is The House That Horror Built. This follows a young woman and her teenage son, and they are struggling to make ends meet. They have no family or friends support, and life is very expensive for a single income household when you don't have many qualifications to your name. So she seeks a new job to become a caretaker for a single gentleman in a large house. This gentleman was a very famous and well-reputed horror writer, director, and screenwriter who fled Hollywood after a family disaster and a big press hoo-ha. So he's now pretty much a recluse, and she goes in to become his caretaker to look after all of the memorabilia that inevitably fills his house, and also for a bit of company. And she finds herself really drawn in. She is quite reserved with him, but her son in particular becomes an area of interest to this man in a very sinister way. And it does not go the way you're expecting it to, guys. I'm not going to give the plot away. So if this is intriguing you, please do read it, because the clue is all in the name. This is a house that was built by horror. It was built on the bones of these horror stories that this man spent his career telling. And I didn't expect the ending. I didn't expect it to become such a paranormal telling. I thought it was going to be the horrors of what one person can do to another, but it does feature the paranormal. So please do check this out if you are a lover of not just horror movies, but also of haunted house tellings, because it does become that. So let me know what you think of this one. Next up is one that would surprise absolutely nobody who's watched my other videos, and that is a Robin Hobb book. It was Ship of Destiny. So this is the final book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, which is the second series within the Realm of the Elderlings. I'm making my way through the Realm of the Elderlings at quite the pace now. I didn't intend to go this quickly through them, but I just can't put them down. They're just really, really drawing me in at the moment, and I'm really here for it. But this one, I have to say, is the best book that I've read so far in the Realm of the Elderlings. It's a fantastic piece of character writing. If you love complex characters and love spending lots of time inside different characters' heads, then this is the book for you. It's also not lacking in action. It is really, really fast-paced, especially for a Robin Hobb book. And those of you who've read Robin Hobb know that she is not a fast-paced author. She's one who takes her time to really tell the story and really get you invested in the characters. But this book has both. And I'm not kidding when I say that I cried for like the last 200 pages of this book. I just really, really enjoyed it. And I think this is one that I would pick back up at random just to revisit these characters, revisit specific moments in it. And I don't know, it really spoke to me, this book. And although it is super long, I think it's the longest book in the Realm of the Elderlings, over 900 pages, it didn't feel like that long of a book. So if you are making your way through the Realm of the Elderlings and you haven't got to this book yet, buckle up, because it is a ride. And finally, the last book of my top 5 books of 2025 is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. V. Schwab is one of my favourite authors. I always love her books, but this one is a masterpiece. This is a book that I would put money on us studying as literature enjoyers hundreds of years from now. Every single sentence in this book is well crafted. She doesn't throw away any opportunities to add in extra flourishes and extra character development. This story follows, for those of you that don't know already, it follows 3 main characters throughout different periods of time. All 3 of them are young women in various situations in life. One is married to a young nobleman, another is becoming a bit of a social outcast because of her lack of standing and a family scandal. And then the final one is grieving. You don't really know what she's grieving, but you can sense the grief from the first chapter that you read of her. And these 3 stories do inevitably intertwine as the book goes on. But what these 3 women do have in common is that all 3 of them are vampires, 2 of which did not choose that life for themselves, and one of them who, not knowing exactly what it would cost her, chose it all the same. So this is more than just a vampire book. It's quite an important book talking about feminism and the struggles that women can face through history just from being a woman, rather than being looked at for your personality or your worth. You are looked at from a monetary value side of things, in terms of dowry at certain points in history, or what you can offer in terms of rising through society, or simply what you can offer with your body as a woman. So it's a very good commentary on what it is like to be a woman throughout history, but told through the lens of vampirism. I would say that V. Schwab always hits the mark with these stories, because she manages to weave romance in, but it doesn't become a romance story. It's kind of just there as an enhancer to the plot, and you go away from her books and you're just left thinking about them afterwards and thinking, oh, I didn't notice that at the time, but now I see what you were doing at the beginning there. She just has this lyricism to her and this fantastic way of weaving a story that almost from the first few pages can suck you in and really get you thinking. But anyway, before I start going on and on about V. Schwab for the next several hours, please let me know what you guys thought of this. If you've read it, is it on your TBR for 2026? What is on your TBR for 2026? I do have a video for my TBR for January, and I also do have a video for my plans for 2026 as a reading overhaul, so check those out if you want to see more of me. If not, never mind. But anyway, I hope you have a happy reading day. Bye guys.